In a world where every Rob, Steve, and Lane has a podcast, two good brothers will try to rise above the rest. Howard Blues and the Mark Kidder invite you to pour a cold beverage, pull up a seat, and enjoy time with friends. Welcome to Beer, Blues, and BS.
Welcome in to another edition of Beer, Blues, and BS. It's the podcast, still without Howard, because he couldn't pay his electricity bill. I'm the man, the myth, legend, Mark Kidder. Thanks for joining me this evening, and it is not just me. No, I have a very special guest, if you couldn't tell by my shirt or the set of the Kidder show over here with Beer, Blues, and BS. Well, it is one of my old friends. He's not old. We've just known each other for that long. It's my good friend Clinton Cunanan from another lost year. Welcome to the Triple B.
Hi, everybody. Doing my waves as I'm coming in.
I love it. He thinks that there's the mass applause like he used to get on stage, and I say used to because it's been like, I don't know, what, a month since you've been on stage, something like that.
Listen, 2 weeks. 2 weeks.
2 weeks. Okay. Awesome.
2 weeks. Like Total Recall, you know, when it's like going to be in Mars. 2 weeks.
Okay. I'm good with that. Yeah. 2 weeks. Well, we're getting over the curve of year one of the show. So now it's just uphill from here, as in better ratings, better content. And you're helping out to start out the new year with the new content, even better content. And I have to say, I've been trying to get you on the show for, well, pretty much since day one. And I'm glad that you finally carved out a little bit of time to come on the Triple B.
I gotta say that if I would have known that you wanted me on here sooner, I would have been here, man.
Okay. Fair enough. All right. Well, what we love to do with the show, since I know that my text messages have been going to the iCloud or something like that, what we do on the show is we started out with a what's on tap. And now I know that you're not a huge drinker, and there's nothing wrong with that, because we ask you to pull up a cold beverage, whatever it is, whether you're drinking water, ice water, perhaps lemonade. So for you, Clinton, guess first, what's on tap, my friend?
Well, we'll start with the guessing game. It is a clear liquid that can be purchased in glass bottles and in plastic bottles. It's refreshing. It's completely odorless. It's not vodka. It's water.
Here I was going to go with the liquid IV or something like that. You know, that stuff where you pour into your water and then it's like 5 times the concentration to help your body hydrate or something.
No, I wish I had that. This is straight from my reverse osmosis water. It's been chilled. I put crushed ice in there so it melts, so I don't have to worry about those hitting my teeth because I have sensitive teeth.
Just like a sensitive heart. Just everything about you.
Yeah.
I'm glad you have a cold glass of water, but not too cold. It's just right.
No.
So
just right.
I think it's a special occasion, so I'm gonna dip into the Triple B beer fridge, get myself the old highball glass here, and pull out a little blackened. Yes.
Ooh. Yeah.
Are you familiar with the blackened, Clinton?
I have never partaken in the blackened. Is this a whiskey? Is this a bourbon? What is this?
So not only I'm just gonna pour a little bit because it's been a long day. I'm thirsty. Get that on here. So the cool thing, number one, Blackened. It's a Metallica collaboration. Okay. So Blackened Records, they named it Blackened Whiskey. And what they did is they have the finest hand-selected whiskeys in an unrivaled composition of craft and creativity. So they put it in a cask, and then what they do is play soundtracks of Metallica on loop while it's in the casks. And that's how they get the different taste profiles. I know you think you're giving me that eye of like, that sounds pretty gimmicky. It might be, but I do have to say, tasting my buddy's Blackened and this bottle of Blackened, they do taste slightly different, and they have different playlists. So it's kind of bizarre. I think the Saint Anger heavy playlist tasted a little bit more tinny, and the shall we say Black Album ones taste a little thicker. That I'll leave that up for you to decide when you finally taste.
Is this artwork on there? Is that an audio waveform? Is that what that is?
Yes.
Nice.
It's they observation, yeah.
Good.
But this is a 45% alcohol per volume, and it is 90 proof, a 750 right here in the old glass bottle. So I thought you'd want to, see that, because I know you being a music aficionado, but I also think it's a special occasion because you're on the show. So,
well, I appreciate that honor. I feel like I've been knighted by the Blackened whiskey.
Now we just need Lars and James to come over and give the old 1-2. Hey, Lars, I'm over here now, and hey, Clinton, I'm just going to say that it's great to have you on the show. Isn't that right, James? Yeah. So,
damn, that just happened. I was just thinking of that scene from is it Get Into the Greek, where Russell Brand calls his ex-wife and she's like sleeping with Lars. And have you seen that? Are you familiar with the movie?
Yep, it's been a few years, but yeah.
It's just the part where like Russell Brand starts doing this British accent, and Lars is like, "Hey, your mom sounds like a Monty Python skit," and it like cracks me up.
Right. That little clip that I tried to recreate is a Jim Breuer skit. Interestingly enough, Jim Breuer was opening for Metallica 2 years ago already.
So he says he doesn't smoke weed. Do you think that's true?
I think it is true. I mean, as crazy as he is and as crazy as he looks, I don't think he does it. I don't think that he touches it. It's hard to say. I mean, I don't know him like I know you, but it's hard to say.
If someone were to say to you, "Hey, Kidder, Clinton says he doesn't smoke weed," do you think that's true?
I love that. The shifty eyes. I am going to plead the fifth.
Yeah.
I will say that just because then there's no recorded video evidence of you saying yes or no. How about that?
Well, I didn't. I merely asked the question if it was said. I have alluded to nothing. Just.
Okay. It's plausible deniability, Clinton. I'm trying to help you.
That's what I'm saying, man. I was asking the question. What would you think? You'd be like, "Oh, this guy."
Mm-hmm. I think that it would be open to each individual's interpretation, because that's what America is about: liberty.
That's right, man. Aren't you? So you're in North Dakota, right?
Yeah.
Are they? How are the laws there? Is it medicinal for like 3 diseases that are like the rarest things on earth?
There are the medicinal restrictions, if you will. Basically, as far as my understanding is, you have to get the prescription from a medical doctor at any of the hospitals or clinics in the state, and then that gets registered with the state Department of Health. But the recreational and possession for any non-card carrying holder, unless you're getting it for someone who has a medicinal card, is still not decriminalized, because you can still be charged with the B misdemeanor of it, but it's essentially an infraction, depending on if you have large trafficking amounts, or you have just a little bit? Varies.
Well, how would one determine like a large trafficking amount? Because, like someone say like, Tommy Chong, this guy probably, it's not unfair to think the guy goes through an ounce a day. So, I mean, if he bulk buys for the next 2 weeks, probably a pound worthy, That's not.
Sure.
Oh, I'm just kidding, man.
It's hard to say. I mean, maybe the Tommy Chong bus will come to town again, and it's got a semi-trailer behind it, and it just smells like somebody's been smoking the reefer. We'll just have to see what happens.
Today, though, like with there's a lot of other devices, so people don't necessarily smell like marijuana. Because that was one thing I never understood. Back in the day when I was experimenting with things like hamburgers and meat. I was getting out of the vegetarian life, but you walk in somewhere and someone just smells like weed. I mean, I don't mind, but you do sometimes like, man, that's probably what I used to smell like. So try not to do that anymore.
Just a little pungent.
Yeah, pungent. Pungent is the word.
So I'm guessing that's pretty much what's new with you. You've gone vegan and you've embraced technology, and you're just chilling. That's pretty much sums it up.
Well, so when the pandemic hit, we played February 29th, 2020, and leap year. We had just come off. I mean, so we were swinging strong right out the gate. First year, I think we were on. It was like it was 25, 26 day run. Pretty strong coming out the gate. February 29th rolls around. Everybody goes their separate ways, gets on planes, flies home, does whatever. And then like 3 weeks later, everything shuts down. And you're just like, wow, well, this is weird. And to go from playing, we were starting to scale back, but we were playing 200 plus shows a year. And so we definitely decided we weren't going to do that anymore, just because I'm not as young as I used to be. Getting a little older. My knees are not that good. Honestly, I like the routine of like going to bed at 8:30 and getting up at being a normal human being. I mean, I lost 10 years of my life. I don't want to say lost, but 10 years of my life is a blur. I lived on the road. I convinced people to go live in a 106 square foot van with me and do this. And so when the pandemic hit, it was like, okay, I have to kind of reevaluate my life and figure out a little bit, because, that was where my income mostly came from. So it could be, I own a company too, but that was a substantial amount of money. It's how I paid to keep the band going. And so I actually went back to school during the pandemic. I'm, what month is this? April, May. So I am 7 months away from finishing my bachelor's degree in entertainment business from Full Sail University. They don't pay me to talk about it, but
but if you say the name Clinton Cunanan as you apply, you might get a benefit or a bonus.
Yeah, it's really cool because every movie that comes out, there's like at least 10 kids from school that are, doing something with it. The Grammys just happened. I think like 50 of the students were part of 11 albums that won Grammys or some stuff. And so I've been doing that, which got me into, I've always been into kind of doing video work, but my wife and I started doing wedding cinematography during the pandemic. And then that got me doing a lot of freelance work. So like actually this week, I'll be flying to Texas for the PFL, which is Professional Fighters League, to cover the fights. I'm actually on a fight team, which is crazy in itself, because I never in my wildest dreams imagined that I would be on a professional fighters corner team, because awesome. I'm a dick about fighting other than what I watch on TV. But yeah, so and get to do that. But we actually we started going back out and playing as of September last year. We did a 10-day run. It was pretty fun. And then we've just been kind of we did a trap run this year. We did a flaw run this year. But it's, like I said, it starts fight season for me this week, and the wedding season is crazy busy, and the money is really good in that. So it's tough to not do it, but we're figuring it out. We're just going to do touring a lot differently when it comes to another lost year, 10 days out, maybe at most, and then, be off for things that I need to do. I missed on a lot. We don't have to go out and tour like that anymore. And, so I'm just kind of enjoying that for what it is.
Awesome. And you're out with, you dudes in Blacklight District as well, right?
Correct. Yep. We're doing Edge Fest, which is out in Idaho, and then we'll be doing Sturgis again this year. So that's really cool, man. That's an experience in itself, because I started out, kind of tour managing for that band, and then Kyle's the singer of Blacklight, we've become really good friends, and we help each other out with a lot of stuff. I kind of loosely manage the band a little bit as well. And then he's like, you already do all this stuff. He's like, why don't you just come play bass too? Because my guitar player is actually a big guitar player from Blacklight. We could just kind of transform another lost year into Blacklight District a little bit, which is really cool because it gives me a different perspective of being in a band. It's not wearing the hat of like having to be the one when there's a question, like I'm the one that's going to answer it. If they need somebody to meet people, like I can continue on with whatever my mission is throughout the day. I don't have to worry about not carving out time. That sounds so bad, especially since you said I carved out time to be here for you, man. No, I mean, it's a really cool, unique perspective that I don't think a lot of people, maybe I say my position, like the singer of the band, that kind of get to experience that kind of flip side of being in a band, where you're just kind of in a band. I go to the studio sometimes. It's not like I really write or record. I just do video mostly while we're at the studio. So it's just like I'm there having a good time, enjoying the music, playing the show, and reaping all the benefits of being in a band just without having to feel that pressure of performing like that. I'm going to murder this. I would never abuse an animal, but he's just being annoying.
That's all right. I understand. Maybe the pup's just so excited that you're on this entry level podcast. It's really the dry run before you go pro. That's what.
Oh, man. Look at your background you got going on. Anybody's not pro right here. See, look at my green wall. This is for video work. We just painted our entire wall green to do green screen stuff. But no, man, you're next level. You sound amazing. I feel amateur hour over here because I couldn't get my ridiculously priced interface and ridiculously priced microphones and all that set up to work with this. So I apologize.
Well, I tell you what, you bring the whole setup over here. I'll help you out. We'll get it number one A pro top level tier stuff. Nothing to worry about. But the genius with the green screen is if you go back into the settings, you can change your background to whatever you want. So, I mean, Howard always laughs at me because I have, a bunch of clutter. But, you got the media wall and the different trophies, if you will, signed memorabilia from people such as yourself. It's hard. It
adds legitimacy. I'm saying, like, the production value of your set alone is next level.
Well, thank you. I appreciate you bringing some celebrity credibility to my setup, which Howard not being here, he's going to absolutely hate that when he sees this. So thank you for that.
Howard, you're wrong, man. You're wrong, Howard. At least
I love it.
I love it. I was admiring that. I was like, damn, man, I wish mine just was terrible, but I can't have all that stuff in the background. I'm telling you, this dog is something else today.
What I might have to think about doing, if I can find a way to do it, there's a space just over your right shoulder that looks like a perfect place where we could put a Beer Blues and BS poster autographed by Howard and maybe by me. I mean, if it's with me, it might lower the value of the poster, but
listen, if you do it, it'll go right in this area here.
That looks like a good spot right there. I mean, it's just from an aesthetic point of view. It's never going to get seen by anybody, but by you.
Well, in all reality, like whenever I do Zoom calls or whatever, it's like, this is where I'm, again, like if I were to show you this wall, it's like just screens everywhere. It looks very plain right here, but if you were looking this way, you'd be like, what is happening over here? Like, this guy is crazy.
I love it. I mean,
yeah.
Howard makes fun of me a little bit too, because I have 2 computers and 4 screens right here that you can't see as well, but
right.
It's kind of my control room of sorts, because I can do this and I have the information right here, and we just got to stay on track, and so that the technology helps. You know what I mean?
I do. I tried doing a live stream during the pandemic, and it was I scripted it. I scripted it all, went through everything, rehearsed it, had another guy that was there with me just to help me stay on track. And even with that, like, it's I commend you, because you guys this is episode 55, right?
Yep. So we're over the 1 year mark officially, because we only, aside from the bonus episodes, which we don't count in the episodic numbering, only 55 episodes that we've done of the legitimate show. But just like Adam loves WWE, AEW, we're huge into wrestling, so we do special edition coverage, bonus episodes of the pay-per-views when they happen. We do predictions from us, and then we do a review of it afterwards. So it's usually late nights of us sitting here BSing about wrestling. But and that brings up a good point. It's a great job for bringing that up, Clinton. I think I'm going to need to get Adam on one of our review shows, because it's been a long time since I talked to that fool too.
Right, he's thriving in life. He's doing well. So I'm sure he's done. I know he's done. I don't know if he's been on here, but he's done a couple of the podcasts and stuff. He's a fun dude to talk to. I had him on the live stream as well. He's
awesome.
Yeah, good, cool fella. He's getting married in November, so that's fun.
Right. I do have to say, I haven't received an invite to his wedding, and it seems you mentioned the M word, and I didn't get an invite to travel to North Carolina either.
Oh, you wouldn't have been at the right wedding. Been to North Carolina.
Oh, okay. So wherever you decide, Vegas? What? No.
No. Okay, so me and my wife are. My wife is a huge Harry Potter fan. I am a huge Jurassic Park fan. So, and the first like vacation that we kind of went on, if you call it a vacation, it was actually Christmas Day 2015.
Blink if you're in a safe place, okay? Because I think somebody is nearby.
I should explain too. Like so we. I'll get back to that story, but the setup of what's going on is like, so I have an upstairs office that kind of doubles for both of us because we do wedding cinematography. But I literally live my life when I'm not playing shows, sitting at this desk working. And so what we did is this room, we bought this ridiculous cabin during the pandemic. So we're on a lake. It's 20 minutes to the closest gas station. We're in the middle of nowhere. Like,
Perfect.
Trust me when I say that. And so we found this cabin that had the most incredible layout, and we fell in love with it. And it was out of our price range. I don't even know why we looked at this house. It was above where we were even talking about. And so she sends this to me, and it happened to be like the closest one to like her mom. And it was on a lake, and it was all these things that I was just like, oh God, okay, well, let's go. I think I even said I don't even want to go look at it. Like I'm pretty sure I thought about it. And we end up going and look at it. And like, as soon as we get back in the car, I'm like, that's the house. Like, I want that house. We have to have that house.
That happens.
So it was, but we have 2 balconies upstairs, like 2 decks, 3 decks down, decks. There's decks everywhere. Like it's this incredible view. So I spend my time in this room, and so my wife, she just hangs out in here with me. We're building like a Murphy. It's going to be a crazy setup. So like when people come and record here, they'll be able to stay ultimately in the studio. But that's what's happening there. So to get back to that, the first trip that we took was 2015 Christmas Day. She flew to Orlando. I had Christmas with my family that morning, and then drove to Orlando from Charlotte. And we met, I think it was like 11:30 or something when I picked her up. And we spent the weekend at Universal because she had never been. I love it there. We had a great time. Fast forward to us getting engaged and all that other stuff. And we were like, because there was this thing where make no mistake, I don't think that I was ever famous at all. To some people, I will say there are some people that like, they think that I am Chad Kroger of Nickelback, and it's the weirdest thing, and it blows my mind.
Cool. But that's the difference.
Well, I appreciate that. So I don't have these delusions that I was something fantastic, but it was. Honestly, I don't even know where I was going because I felt bad about saying what was it about. Anyway, Christmas, do this thing. We get engaged, and then everybody was like, "Oh, well, you have to invite me." That's where I was going. They're like, "You have to invite me to your wedding," and I'm like, "Holy man, do you know how expensive weddings are? Like, no, I'm not trying to invite nobody to a wedding." And so we were working out dates and trying to figure it out, and all the while, like, I'm touring, and she's doing she did all the planning. Like, she was still in school. I mean, it was a crazy thing, but we decided. I was like, you know what? Let's just get married as soon as we can. And she sends me this date, which was November 19th. Yeah, it was the day we got engaged, November 19th. And she's like, let's do it here. And I was like, in Orlando? She's like, yeah. I was like, hell yeah.
5 weeks away.
Yeah, in 5 weeks. We should be in 5 weeks. She hit me within 5 weeks. And I was like, I'm on tour at the time in Florida, too, on top of that. And so it was like all these things. And I was just like, yeah, let's do it, So we did. She found the park. We did it on a Tuesday, which made it even harder for people to come. It wasn't intentional, but we wanted to do pictures at Universal, and we had to have a day where there wasn't really a lot of people. Do you have your phone on? Yeah, I'll show you. I'll show you this. We did the whole deal, man. It was crazy because we actually got on the Haggard's motorbike ride, which is a brand new roller coaster at the time, and they put us on the very front. And they're like, she's like, is it fast? We're like, oh no, it's a family ride. And so she, I was just looking.
I don't have that picture on there. I'll have to grab it.
Here's so it's just one of our pictures. If you
look at that,
see there, yeah.
Hey, there's me.
That was you, man.
It's a good photo. I like it.
Yeah,
thanks for sharing this exclusive photo with Triple B.
There you go, man. I mean, we're just BSing about everything. So
yep.
The best part about our wedding is we had our reception at Waffle House. And if you don't know what Waffle House is, you can get 2 eggs, 2 strips of bacon, hash browns, and a drink for $5.99.
See, that's the sad thing because we don't have any anywhere near us. I think the closest one has to be 10 hours away. Without doing without doing some quick GPSing and whatnot, I would guess. I personally have never eaten at a Waffle House. And so that's what I would love to be able to do with you is go to a Waffle House and enjoy a Waffle House. See, up here we have Denny's and Perkins and truck stops and some of the other greasy spoon type of places, right? But no Waffle House.
I would like to propose an idea to you. Now,
all right.
This is going to take some effort on both of our parts. But like I said, I'm on a fight team, right? So I started off doing video for the PFL and ESPN. Then I moved to working with this fighter, and now the guy's like, just come be on my team. So like, this has been the transgression of it. So we actually have more fights in Atlanta coming up June 17th. So I'll be in Texas for the next couple of weeks, but in June. And I'm just saying, if you could make it out, bring Brews, Blues, and BS on the road, and we go watch these fights, and we go to Waffle House. You can even sit down with my fighters, and we can get some more in the flesh and just film that too, like a live podcast. Just putting it out there.
See, I'm liking the road that you're laying down here. It's kind of like a yellow brick road, huh?
You're not in Kansas no more. You know, you won't be in North Dakota anymore. You'll be in Atlanta.
That's for sure. And then we can visit Coke World after and drink our fill of Coke from across the world.
Coke's from Africa.
I think Howard might be disappointed that he couldn't go, but I'm gonna have to do some working on my end, so then we can get there because we got to get there.
I'm just saying. Atlanta's a big airport, probably some good deals getting there. You know, Wiz Khalifa might even be there. I mean, it's crazy. Michael Vick is always at the fights. I mean, it's like a whole plethora of celebrities that are just like right there, and it blows my mind because everybody likes watching two people, be it guy or girl, because this is 2022, but they beat the shit out of each other, and people go crazy.
The last UFC match. So here's a funny side note for you, because Howard and I would go to various restaurants that were like your sports restaurants, right? And Saturday nights they would have the UFC fights being replayed, or be it the new fights. And us not caring about either people, because 90-ish% of the time we have no idea who these people are. So we would go. Right. One of us would pick one match, and then the winner would pick the UFC fighter for the next match. So we would pick the color of the trunks. Like, I'll take white trunks or red trunks. Okay, all right. And then whoever would win that one gets the first pick in the next one, just as something to do in the 2 hours that we were there having food and a beverage. And so that's about my extent of the UFC knowledge, aside from Brock Lesnar and Ronda Rousey and Paige Van Zandt. So those three people are pretty much the only people I can name as fighters. I'm sorry, I'm not up to date on the UFC stuff or any of the related MMA, etc.
Right. No. I mean, it's definitely an interesting world. What's it, Gabriel Stevens? Isn't he a wrestler that the WWE is courting right now?
Yeah, Gable Steveson. He's a two-time Olympic medalist, or two-time All-American, and an Olympic gold medalist. And he was at WrestleMania 38 a few weeks back.
Yeah, so I have like exclusive footage that probably nobody's really ever seen of him actually in the octagon from Hollywood, Florida, in August of last year, right after the Olympics. They pushed the Olympics back to last year, right? And he won last year. Yeah, so it was right after he won the gold medal. I've got so I mean that world is it's interesting. It's funny because I've recently gotten into more wrestling. I actually just did an event with Adam Shearer, the Titan, Braun Strowman, EC3 is another guy. at the Control Your Narrative thing. And so we've been loosely talking about, me and another guy, they've been talking to us about doing some video work for him, because we did some in December at this Blizzard Brawl here. But my buddy Jake, he actually has a wrestling federation, wrestling alliance association, whatever it is.
All of the above. You're not wrong.
Yeah. So we, I do get to. I've been filming a lot of wrestling events, and it's interesting because it's a culture of its own. Like, it's nothing that I watched wrestling. I'm 39, early 40, so Sting, Hulk Hogan. Sting still wrestles, right?
Sting still wrestles. He's in AEW with Darby Allin, and I got to see his ass in Minneapolis back in November. In fact, he and Darby Allin were walking through Mall of America, and I could have been one of those dicks that ran up and like, hey, dude, can I get your autograph? But I was like, hey, there's Darby Allin and Sting. Like, it's cool enough to see them from 10, 20 feet away and go, yep, that's cool. I didn't want to be that guy. You know what I mean?
Man, I do get that, and I'm kind of the same way. I've been starstruck really one time that I absolutely can remember, and it was for Aaron Lewis, actually. And it was just kind of, like, I couldn't even say anything. I was like, all right, man. So,
and he's like, oh, you're Clinton Cunanan from Another Lost Year, and you're like,
No, but apparently he kicked my wife in a hacky sack or soccer ball or something. I was like, no.
He would kick the ball for me.
I was like, don't tell me these stories about you hanging out with Aaron Lewis. Make me feel inferior.
That's great.
So, but we've been, like I said, she does weddings with me, but she also films the wrestling events with me. So it's cool, man. We get to do things like that. So wrestling has been pretty cool, man. I wanted to go to the Control Your Narrative thing at WrestleMania that was down in Dallas. You actually went to it, right?
Not this year. I didn't get to go to WrestleMania or Dallas or anything. That whole money and bills thing, but I would have loved to have gone. And we have on the show, we've talked about the Control Your Narrative, the formation of it with Braun and EC3. Braun, for lack of remembering his real name. So my apologies. I can't think
Adam.
off the top of my... Yes, Adam. So we've talked about it on the show, the formation of it. We're not exclusive fanboys of AEW or WWE or really any specific wrestling promotion. If there's something interesting for us to talk about that we like to talk about, we talk about it.
Yeah. Well,
but I'm a huge CM Punk fan. I just have to throw that out there. And I guess there's my fourth UFC fighter, even though his career was terrible.
2 fights was bad. Interesting story about Braun Strowman is that so when we used to go out and tour early on, he would put tires on our van at this place called the Pit Stop in Denver. Dude, we grew up 10 miles from each other. It's a true story, like straight up. So he was a strongman competitor at the time. He wasn't Braun Strowman, so he was, he was competing in all those things. And the community would, I tell this story about him all the time. And but this dude eats like 15,000 calories at lunch. And that's a lot of money to eat. Yeah. So this restaurant, Untouchables, like a lot of, like he'd just go in there, man, and he'd have this table full of food. And this dude just be pounding it. I'm like, God dang. And the next thing you know, there he is on WWE, Braun Strowman just taking off. And, actually, back in December when I got to film for him and stuff, we were kind of talking about that story, and my buddy was with me, Hoops, which is the guy that was the third guy. He's like, man, everybody's over here like all starstruck, and you're talking about how fat this guy used to be.
Yeah, I remember when he first showed up in WWE, and he was not huge, but he was a big dude, like tall and a little bit wide, like. Not wide, but I mean, he was a bigger dude. And then when he was off the air for a while, healing the injury, dude, he toned up. He came back, and Howard and I were like, he's looking really good. Like, he did a lot of work in the as he was rehabbing and whatnot. I mean, so props to him. And we've talked about that on the show, and even going back to, since we're over a year now, back to his release from WWE and what he's been doing afterward. So, next time you see him, tell him that we have supported his journey, not only in WWE, but going on life after the WWE, because there is a world outside that wrestling conglomeration.
Well, off the record, which is on the record still, I'll see if I can't try and connect you to at least EC3 with those guys and see if, because they're starting that control your narrative thing. They're really trying to get it out everywhere. So they are pretty. I don't know if you've had any interactions with them, but they're pretty reasonable guys. So.
Unfortunately, our podcast hasn't quite hit the level of moderate to celebrity stardom here. You're one of the celebrities on the show. So as we do the Hall of Fame for the Triple B, you are one of the inductees. I just want you to know.
I've always wanted to be inducted to a Hall of Fame, man.
Howard's gonna hate this, but here's your trophy right here. Here's your trophy.
I just gotta thank Mark Kidder for this, and Howard for not being here to stop this acceptance of the award. I've worked real hard at this. I couldn't figure out how to get my mic and everything worked out, but despite the technical difficulties, I think we persevered and we have done well.
That was the best impromptu acceptance speech that I have ever heard. And you outdo the Oscars and the Emmys, no question. I just want you to know that. So our audience applauses. Thank you.
Thank you, man. Will Smith doesn't come slap me or anything.
That's good. No, if we could have some more people of your caliber on this show, that's of course what we're shooting for, because we love just hanging out and BS. And it's like the old days with you and me in radio. I'd call you up, like, hey, you want to be on the show this afternoon? Yeah, I ain't got nothing going on. I'll just go call in, no problem. And then we talk for 20 minutes and everybody gets, an earful of what's happening out on the road of whatever place or town that you were in at the time. And so I always enjoyed that, and I thank you for taking the time to do that.
No, man, we can get into this whole thinking thing, but you were royalty to us, man. You made us feel really incredible, and that was it was cool. At the time, it was exactly what we needed. It was like you were probably one of the first radio stations really kind of outside of the normal Midwest threshold that really embraced, us and gave us a shot, man. And that was when you could kind of call the shots before radio got real crazy. and you did what you wanted to do.
That's the funny thing. And I know that you know that because had the corporate known that I was doing what I was doing, I probably would have been canned on the spot instead of me leaving on my terms and going out as number one. Because as you famously said, if you're not number one, you're last.
That's right. Hell, I was probably drunk when I said that, Ricky.
It's possible. One of the things. So what I want to do is because we're having a good time here talking about stuff, and you brought up Radio Past, and what do I have here? Well, yes, I have the debut album. Yeah, he's looking away like, where are we going with this? Well, where am I going? I got autographs here from you guys in one of your trips to town. Tell me about the better days. Tell them. We're taking, if you didn't know, taking a trip through time and space as
Oh
we
my
go
God.
through things. So let's start out where it all began with the Better Days.
All right. So it was 2012. We started in 2011, but 2012 in February, actually February this year was the 10-year anniversary of recording War. I went in. Oh, well, you're in for a surprise.
Okay.
So we went in and we recorded War. It was really interesting because our drummer at the time, which is my business partner now still to this day, he was like, I can't do, we had just finished up our first tour and he's like, I can't do this. I can't tour. And I was like, okay, well, that's great, man. We leave in 3 days. So I appreciate you telling me that now. We get it together. So obviously don't have a drummer that I'm comfortable with at the time, which was total craziness because Lee played drums on the rest of the album and smashed it. But went in and recorded War. Actually, Michael McManus from Saving Abel and 12 Stones at the time, he was the drummer. He played drums on War. A lot of people don't know that. When Justin told me that he could get him, I was like, great, that sounds expensive. He's like, nah, man, you give him like $50 or something. I was like, shit, you serious? $50? Done. You know, did that. And then life from there kind of got really crazy. It was this, the best way that I could like really verbalize it is that if you're standing on a platform waiting for a train and the train, you got to get on the train, but the train's not going to stop. So you got to figure out how to get on that train. And to this day, I don't know how I got on that train still. Like, I don't know if I'd like just lucked up and jumped right through the door and it took off, but that's what happened. We took off and it was, you know, months later, I'm back in the studio after being on the road for like 3 months. And mind you, like I got a 3-year-old, 4-year-old daughter at home. I got a house. I'm going through a separation. So I got all this stuff going on and I'm in the studio for 8 weeks recording this album, Better Days. And, I had never done any, like a lot of people, they start being in a band when they're like 16 or 17 or something. But I was really 29 before I even started treading those waters. In reality, I mean, I'd been in a couple bands here and there, done some stuff, but this was the first serious swing at something like that. And so the next 8 weeks in the studio recording that album, and when we came out, War was going to radio. It was exploding everywhere. It was a crazy thing. And the next thing I know, we're in Vegas and I'm getting ready to turn 30 and we're in this limo and there's liquor bottles and there's like just craziness. And I'm like, what in the hell is going on right now? And I'm like, who's paying for this? Like somebody's got to be paying for this. And, I found out it was me. I was the one paying for it. So that was kind of the evolution of Better Days. Octane grabbed it, then it went out to terrestrial radio, and that was where you and I kind of first got acquainted. And then Writing on the Wall was the second song that came off of that album. As good of a song as it is, it should have never been the next single. Like I'm not sure there was another single on that album. In hindsight, when I recorded it, every song on there was a radio hit to me. And that's the way that it should have been. It should have never been all. I've never recorded an album with fluff. And that to that moment when that CD came out, like that was probably, aside from, being there when my daughter was born or, graduating high school, it was one of my most proudest moments up to that time. Like I could hand you that CD that you have there in your hand, and I could feel confident that you would have a little better understanding of who I was. And that was what Better Days was about for me. So that was the saga from 2012 to 2014. It was Better Days.
Well, you know what? I think the day that you guys came rolling into town and brought everybody into the studio, and I'm walking you around and showing you my home at the time, because I would spend 8 to 15 hours there Monday
How's the
through
A-frame?
Friday. Yep, the double A frames. And you're like, we can live up here. And I'm like, yeah, I don't know if you want to, because it gets kind of shitty in the winter with the airflow, because it gets pretty cold. It's not really heated. And you're like, okay, maybe not. Like, that's not really a good idea. So, I mean, it would have been cool to have you guys around even longer. And of course, I have some video when you guys were hanging out with me doing the acoustic stuff back in my production suite, if you will, which was, again, my home away from home at the time. But getting to see you guys live in concert, I fell in love with the sound, fell in love with the lyrics, fell in love with you guys, you know, had a great time hanging out with you and getting to, for lack of a better term, share the moment at that point, getting to know you guys, because that is in the better days. And I still listen to the tracks now. Obviously, I'm sure you do too. Every once in a while, you pull up the nostalgia moment and you want to listen, but you know, just thinking the All That We Are, track number 3 on the better days, listening to that again the other day, and what a better way to think of life, right? We're all that we are. What else can you do? You could try, do what you can, make the best out of it, and try and move on to the next thing and do the best there too. And that is who you are.
Yeah, no, it's I mean, yeah, it's ultimately what it is. every single one of
took
those
the words out of your mouth. I mean, it's like we've had this interview before.
Literally. No, I mean, it's all every single one of those songs, like every song from them, like the Revolution Part 1, with the exception of Cop Car, are all you know, pieces of what was going on. They're very representative.
Representative.
Yeah.
It's like I need to get you a glass of a beverage here, and we can go from there. Have some more of your moonshine.
My vodka. But they're all, you know, the representatives of what was happening in that moment, or whatever it was. Because it's crazy. Because, man, sometimes I can sit down and I can write a song in a matter of like 10 minutes. And I'm talking hook and all. And then there's some days where I'll write the music and I just can't come up with anything still. I mean, I still got tons of songs. I just have to have lyrics on that. There has to be a lot of stuff that lines up, and I'm sure that, you know, other artists will argue this with me or whatever. But I mean, I think that, you know, really, there's a lot of things that have to line up. You know, the creative presence has to be there. You know, you have to have some type of experience. That's what I was telling my wife. You know, I've been locked up. This is the first winter where I haven't really gone anywhere. So I haven't really had those experiences of whatever it is. Even just being away from home for a couple of days, like it creates this like emptiness inside of you, and that's something that like I try and use. I mean, I can write songs like I'll watch a movie and I'll try and put myself in that person's perspective and things like that. So, you know, writing like that, but you know, 90% of the songs that I write about are 100% introspective, just stuff that I'm going through, or have gone through, or we're thinking or feeling. And so, you know, War was one of those songs, and people tell me how it changed their life. You know, Death in Me is one that as of lately people have really latched onto. They're like, man, the song is just something else. Yellow Brick Road is a fun song that you brought up earlier. That song was very self-reflective too, man, because I was just really tired of hearing about everything. It's tough, man, not to compare yourself to other people, and especially like when we worked as hard as we did, and you know, you don't know very many people that have been in their job for 10 years. I mean, right or wrong, you just don't know a lot of people that stay somewhere for 10 years. So when you have band members that kind of come and go, and and people are watching your life. You know, you're having to fix these problems and live your life in front of people. Now, like I said, I'm no delusions of being Nickelback or Shinedown or something like that, but still, I mean, live your life in front of 5 people and see how hectic that is. I mean, we all had parents at one point in time, and, you know, people judging you. I don't want to say that my mom judged me or anything like that, but you kind of, you know, people watch what you do. And if it's one person, 10 person, 10,000 people, you know, it starts to take a toll on you and things like that. So it's just, that's where that song really kind of came from, is that I got tired of everybody talking about stuff, and just F you, man.
Well, hey, you're in a good place because we're not judging you because nobody watches this, so it's all good. It's just like my radio days, you know, nobody listened then either.
It's a shame if nobody watches, because I feel like we have had some great conversations.
It's true, and this happens every day. But the people, wear out thou people. So, and no, I hope they're not upstairs.
You episode 55, which is like, that's impressive. I did one podcast, and that shit was hard.
Yeah.
But you can tell you're super comfortable with it, and like, I mean, fortunately, I've talked to a lot of people in my lifetime, but I mean, you know, you got the thing, man. So,
oh man,
it's gonna pop. I'm on the podcast, dude. It's gonna explode now. People like,
you.
What? Clinton was on the blue. I already told my roommate back home in North Carolina that we'd be talking about his beer the whole time, so we got to talk about that now.
Oh, that's true. Yeah. So we're gonna get to the beer because my glass is empty here, so I'm gonna need another What's on Tap. We usually do a What's on Tap again halfway through. I want to continue talking about the albums because I have number 2 here, officially number 2 for the album wise. Correct.
Yeah, correct.
So Alien Architect, which, you know, I got the whole special edition because I want to support my bros out on the road. And it's been a while since I opened up. I have the limited edition patch. If you remember that, I won't show the back because it has a website on it that we're not promoting. But whatever. And let me see. You know what? I think this one might have an issue because I don't see any signatures on it there, Clint.
Oh, shit. We'll have to get that signed for you.
I'm messing with you. It is what it is. The album Alien Architect, I have to say I love this album. I mean, I love all your music. So there is that, you know, the cheap plug, number 1. But as I'm sitting there playing Call of Duty and listening to Music Choice, I hear Wolves. And I'm like, this sounds oddly familiar, like just from the riff at the beginning. And I'm like, wait a minute. And then I hear you come in singing. I'm like, son of a bitch. These guys made it to Music Choice again. And they didn't call me first to let me know that they got this coming out. No, I'm just messing with you. I was super excited. Pretty sure that I posted something on Facebook like, look, my dudes are on Music Choice. So, you know, this song is not only a barn burner of a song, but they're going places. So support them when the new album comes out. Tell me about the song, the album, what's going on there.
Yeah, Alien Architect was another crazy adventure. So just to kind of give you the breakdown of how it happened. Better Days cost about $25,000 to make. That sounds outrageous, but when you factor in moving to Memphis for 9 weeks, mastering, pressing, all that stuff, yeah, it costs about $25,000. And you know, Warm and what was I saw writing on the wall. they came up there. And then we did have a couple of EPs in between Alien Architect, and so the first one, EP 1, Revolution 1, cost about $10,000 to make. That's the one.
Here it is.
$10,000.
So this is a $10,000 EP that I'm holding, and I'm holding the version that you put out that's near and dear to my heart, as you mentioned before, without completely derailing, jumping the shark on your story. But I have to throw it out there because we're talking in the back. As you look real close, you guys threw out a call out to me on the back of the album, and I really appreciate it, number one, because it's the one and only that has ever happened. And so thank you to you guys. And I mean, it means a lot to me. And the fact that I came up with the name for track 2 on this, that alone, that you guys gave me the honor of doing that and having that forever inked on at least this EP that hangs out in my home. I'm forever grateful. So thank you for that. Go on with your $10,000 story.
Well, I appreciate it, man. And arguably to date, that was the most successful EP. So I think it's because I had your name on it. Just putting that out there. But and then I recorded that album in a week. Did that EP in a week. So we went from 9 weeks, $25,000 to 1 week, $10,000. Was writing, recording a song a day, which was, I thought, ridiculous at the time. Fast forward to Revolution Part 2. This guy, I know I'm getting off track, but I'm going to it. There it is.
There it is.
Revolution Part 2, this guy had opened up his studio to us in Louisiana for 2 weeks. So he wanted to get into the rock realm. He was a Grammy-nominated producer. He'd only done hip-hop stuff. So I was like, great, man, we're looking to record an album. Go down there, record the album. I don't want to say we kicked him out of his own studio after like a week, but I mean, that's ultimately what happened. I was in the back writing and pre-proing that EP, Revolution 2, with George in the back in the kitchen. And then we would send it up front for Adam and Nate to retrack in the control room. And that's how we efficiently recorded that. Well, I had to get those things mixed. So I sent off mixes to 3 different people, 2 of which one was Evan Rodenici from Power Man 5000. And another one was Jose Urquiza, who helped me produce Alien Architect. And Jose was out on tour with Red at the time with his band 3 Years Hollow. And he was like, man, I'd love to do some mixing for you. Send me your stuff. So I do. He sent it back. I was like, wow, this was really pretty good. He's like, man, you should come by the house and re-record these vocals. Let me show you what I can do. So I did, fell in love with his style. I said, he's like, do your next album with me. I'm like, okay. So basically we would play shows like Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. On Sunday after the show, I would drive back to the studio in Illinois, sleep on the bus in Jose's yard for like 3 days while Adam would go to his girlfriend's, George would go to his girlfriend. Everybody kind of dispersed. And the first day I would go in and I would usually hash out a couple songs. They'd come back in like Tuesday and work all their parts out. But I was writing and recording like 2 songs a day for Grit, man. It was an intense pace. I was just going crazy about writing the stuff every night and mix down. My wife, she wasn't my wife at the time. She'd come stay on the bus in a bunk with me that's like, 5 foot and a 5.5 foot long, 2 foot deep. And I'd listen to playback all night, and she'd probably try to do homework and sleep, and I'd be annoying the shit out of her. But, that's how Alien Architect came to fruition. And it was like a really crazy time because, America was so divided. Trump was running. This was before he was president. So, all that craziness was going on. The TV show, The Newsroom, is actually where the intro track comes from. And it was just like, we were looking for what we were going to do for that intro track. I knew I wanted to do something. I was really big on that TV show at the time, whatever your political views are. And it's Jeff Daniels is the guy. And his monologue was just like one of the most powerful things I had ever heard because, I'm guilty of it too. I always thought that everywhere else was a third world country compared to America. And then like when you open your eyes and you look, you're like, nah, man, we are a great country and we do have like fantastic liberties. This is not the direction that we want to be going, but it's, to me, it was the right thing to do for that album because it was very defining for me. And then leading straight into Wolves was just kind of like, not a political stance on either side, but just like, hey man, you guys need to pay attention to what's going on because something's happening.
Yeah.
And it was crazy though. There were so many hiccups with that album, delay wise. Actually, I think we were at Disney World when it came. We like theme parks, man. That's the thing. It used to be anytime we were off, she'd fly out, we'd go to theme parks. That's what we did. But yeah, we were at Disney World. The album's like delayed. Nothing that I can do. I can't get a hold of anybody. And it was, but again, when that album came out, you know, I was looking, I got one laying around. I keep them laying around everywhere too.
Look at that.
You know, it's, but I can hand you this piece of plastic and then you're like, who are you? And I would hand you this and you would have, you know, some insight to my life. And then like, you know, having that Better Days album, having the Revolution EPs and things like that, for me, they're cool because, you know, God forbid something happens to me anytime soon, but, you know, Leander can listen to the songs, you know, that I was singing on. My daughter, my son's 22. He's actually on Armed and Dangerous. If you know, if I'm familiar with that track. That other kid singing, that's my son that's actually on that song with me. So that's a really interesting.
That's a piece that I didn't know, so I really appreciate the insight because
yeah, a lot of people don't, man.
This is awesome, and oh look, there it is, right here, part 3, just happens to be right in front of me. That I got in the what was that? The deluxe pack, the EP pack, or something like that. I threw that in there. I needed to have it because I had parts 1 and 2 already, but didn't have part 3 in the physical realm, but that I love it. And, you know, I think just me throwing it out there that with these pieces of plastic, as you said, it's somewhat of a legacy. It's a 10-year legacy. And for me, you know, very, very, very loosely associated with it I feel from the fringe outskirts of it, because I'm like looking in as a fan, and I feel, number one, awesome music, awesome writing. I've loved all of it. I've loved the tracks. Number 2, I feel very privileged to have you not only send me some of the pre-release stuff, like, hey dude, this is confidential, so check this out, what do you think? I'm like, you're blowing my mind. Like, I can't do anything with this. Why are you sending me this? Oh, okay, I love that you sent it to me, because I'm playing it 20 times, listening to it in a row, because now my day is just like, my mind is exploded. So and then stories like you guys touring with Elysium down in the Gulf Coast the day when I premiered the song that you sent to me earlier, and I asked, can I play this today? And you're like, yeah, go for it. I'm like, okay, here we go.
100%. We were on the beaches, man.
Yeah. Tell me, since I brought it up, if you would enlighten me, because I love hearing the story. I heard it from Nate from Elysium. So if share it from your perspective for me, if you would.
Well, I mean, like we touched on, you know, we got a history, and the song actually didn't have a name when I had sent it to you. And I think that was kind of how I started off. Like, I don't even know what this thing's called yet. But you're like, all right, man, I'm going to play it. And I'm like, holy shit, man. I was like, this is for real. Cause it was like the first time that we had gotten any kind of something like that. And something like that to me was like, again, you could have been a nobody on anything, and still something like that, well, it was fantastic. But sprinkling the fact that you had the #1 rock afternoon show, you know, was like even more like, what? This guy's gonna do what, man? So we Yeah, me and Adam we were on the beaches. I'm almost positive it was Corpus Christi, which aren't very good beaches, and it was a very overcast day. There's actually video footage of it somewhere, and hopefully whenever I do this documentary and unarchive all the footage that I have and hard drive after hard drive, that my wife can't watch with me.
Yeah, right.
And so it was a super surreal moment to hear you go on with, I don't know what you guys call it, where you're talking about the song or whatever. And just like for a moment, like everything stands still, like the wind stops blowing, you don't hear the waves or anything. And it's just like, am I dead? Is this real? Because when I was 15 years old, 12 years old, whatever, when you had to push play and record at the same time to catch a song, because the DJ was like, you didn't want to hear talk. I wanted to hear this talk though. I would have recorded this if this would have been the cassette thing. But just being in that moment and thinking, because like I hear these songs probably 1,000 times before anybody else hears it. Because like even as of late, like I record, produce, engineer, everything. So it's like really nobody hears anything at all. So I don't have any outside. Oh, my wife will tell me if something sucks, but I don't really have any outside creative input on it. So it's very, you peel these layers back, but people get one shot at hearing a song for the first time. And when you played that song, like I can just remember, I was like, this is it, man. This is the moment where the song is no longer mine. Like it now belongs to everybody, hopefully everybody. And that was just a really crazy moment. I do carry that moment with me. Like I'll never forget that feeling or the sand in my shoes at that particular moment in time.
That's good. Well, I am honored to be part of the journey. I've told you a whole bunch of times. I can't thank you enough, because it's to me, it's one of the 1, 2, or 3 of the numbered highlights of my quote unquote or terrestrial radio career. Like you said, being number 1 per capita in the country for 2.5 years, during it debuting that song and naming it, and then getting the album shout out, that there are moments I can't even really express into words, which my friends will laugh at, because they know that I have the Gabon disease and I can't stop talking most of the time. So when it comes down to it, man, I can't thank you enough for extending that track to me that day. The conversation we had, the moments that we talked about before it led up to the debut, you guys listening to it through the app down in the Gulf Coast, and then sharing your reaction with me after the fact, it just blows me away. Even today, we're about 8 years, 9 years past when that happened, ish, 14, somewhere in there.
That's 9 years, man.
Yeah,
that's unreal. That's unreal. What's crazy is I shot that music video like on an iPhone 4, and it's like it's been one of the best music videos reacting video. I actually saw statistics of it today that like it gets like 48 views a day. I'm like, what? It doesn't sound like a lot, and it's not a lot, but I mean, for a song that just like, wow, that's crazy, man. Think of that.
I'm sorry. I'll tone it back. I didn't mean to watch it 48 times a day. I'll tone it back a little bit. I'm driving your numbers.
I'm the numbers up.
No, but enough about me, because again, this is, I wanted you on the show to talk about our history, your history mostly, because, without you and another lost year being a part of my life, I don't think I would be as much of a local celebrity as I would be.
You crazy.
Yes,
crazy.
that's
I mean,
beside the point.
I feel like they're obviously everybody along the journey is like, it's like you said, it's like a legacy. So it's like, you know, I look at it like if I were to hang it up now, the last 10 years, 11 years would be all for naught, be for nothing. And yeah, and I don't want that. And so there are, you know, there are a handful of people that have been a tremendous part of this journey, and like without a doubt, you are one of those people. And it, you know, it's cool. Like that's again one of the reasons that I continue to keep doing it and keep trying to, you know, I say break out, but I'm not. I'm in today's world. What does that mean, man? You look at people's Spotify numbers, and it's all perception, and it's like, what does it mean to you? And to me, like at the end of the day, I've succeeded. I mean, I've played sold out shows. I've played the rooms full of people singing songs back to me. Do I want to hear more of that? Do I want to sell out more? Yes. If I never play another show again, will I be all right? Yeah, man, I'll be fine. You heard that hesitation. I mean, I'll be fine. But people like you, what do you mean people like you? People like you are the reason that, you know, I keep doing it. And I kind of take more of the craft seriously still. Like I could write for algorithms. I could do that stuff. I was on the phone earlier with a guy, and he's like, you know, the 4 chord thing. I'm like, yeah, man. I was like, every hit's written off those 4 chords, and we can do that. And they are very appealing, but I'm trying to not do that. You know, I want to, when I listen to a song, I listen to a song because it made me feel something. I wanted to be in a band because I saw the movie Eddie and the Cruisers too, and it made me feel something. So I'm trying to do the same, feel something, make people feel something too. When they hear that song the first time, you know, it's got to grab them. So.
Well, you grabbed my attention back in 2012, 13, from hearing your tracks on the station that I worked for at the time to Sirius XM to Music Choice. You know, I hear it in the various areas, and of course on my music player a lot, including the Killer Kidder Show soundtrack on Spotify, which you can subscribe to for free. Yes, I have my own curated music. There's a lot of Metallica on there, but also on every another Lost Year track that's been released. So there's that. But basically, where do we go from here in 2022? What's you said you're maybe touring 5-10 days, maybe not all at once, doing a few things randomly here and there, maybe writing a little music here and there. I mean, can you give us a little bit of an idea of what's upstairs with Clinton? What's going on?
If only I could. I mean, I'm always writing. I write and record. I want to say daily. I mean, it's at least 5 times a week. I open up my DAW and I try and bang out a new idea. So, I mean, I could release a full-length album right now. Like, I could release 2 of them right now. Completed songs. They're not mixed. Once I got back from mix, let me reiterate that. So there's a bank of songs. Yellow Brick Road actually was written before the pandemic. It was before the pandemic. I'm sitting on, you know what, I'll just say it first here. It's the 10-year anniversary of War. I have just gotten back the new mixes of War that has been completely re-recorded and redone. And I will tell you this, it is very modern, but it is very true to what it was. I'll actually send it to you when we get done for you.
Oh, man. Oh, you're killing me. Thank you.
And so that's something I didn't tell anybody. I was just like, you know, you were talking about, you probably listen to the Better Days album. The reality is I don't. When that album comes on to, I have Amazon Music is what I listen to. I use Spotify too, but I pay for Amazon. So I will subscribe to your playlist.
Hell yeah.
But I skip over those songs. I don't listen to those songs because I don't own those songs. And that's a very difficult thing for me because those songs were very personal to me. Like War on the Inside of Row, a year after my mom had died, arguably the biggest song of my illustrious career to date. A fantastic song. Like I love that song. I can tell you that there was a point in time where I probably made it in passing. Like I can't fucking play this song one more time, but man, I love that song. I love playing that song. If there's one song that people will sing along to by the end of the night, they've never seen us, it's gonna be that song. They're gonna sing that song. So I didn't listen to the album at all. And when Taylor Swift was going through her thing with Scooter Braun, like my father-in-law and everybody kept like, why don't you just re-record everything? I'm like, yeah, well, duh, I'll do that. And I finally did it. And man, I'm glad I didn't do it before because I would have already released it by now. But with the whole 10-year anniversary coming up in like 2 months and stuff, I've redone not redone it, but there's new artwork for it that's just very, 2022. And I'm just excited for you to hear it because there's a neat little twist in there that is very. I can tell you if this version came out right now to radio.
Am I going to be like running around in circles like I'm 5 again and I got the favorite candy that I've been asking for 6 weeks? Like I already know.
I've let 3 people hear it. That know, like Adam's heard it. And like 2 other people have heard it, and they are just like, you can tell, like, because when it comes on, you're like, I know this. And then when it drops, you're like, oh my God, what just happened? Like, it's nasty. It is nasty. Like, if you like any of the newer stuff, like Call It Like It Is, Death of Me, like the massive production, like I said, I've been recording and engineering everything myself. So it's like, I got to do all the things that I've always wanted to do in these songs. And War was no exception. Like we beefed up the riffs. I mean, we went, it's me and my lead guitar player now, Justin, who's actually in Blacklight with me. But I mean, this kid majored in classical guitar. His voice is the second instrument. I mean, it maybe took us like an hour to record. But I think I did 2 takes vocally straight through. I didn't stop at all. I mean, I've been singing that. I know that song left and right, and I know how I should have sang it the first time, and I corrected that, and just a lot of stuff, man. I'm excited for you to hear it. You're gonna hear it and be like, "This song sucks, man." I'm gonna hear the shit.
You're probably gonna blow my socks off, and then my pants will be blown off right after that, and then we have an issue because you can't see below below the shirt line anyway. So maybe we're good. It's all right. Yeah. So first of all, just thanks in advance. So then it's recorded and it's out there because I've always appreciated being able to have that dialogue with you like I don't have with anybody else. I mean, truthfully, I don't. All the other artists that I've met along the way and various levels of share your phone number or talk here and there, whatever. You've always been number one true to both to you and I, right? So I appreciate that. I appreciate being able to spend this time with you and hang out with you. Wish it was in person again, of course, but the whole distance thing and travel and work and all of that normal stuff that goes on. Yeah, exactly. And so don't think that that's a cue to end it because it's not. I just wanted to throw that in there so then it's actually recorded and known.
How far? Sturgis.
What's that?
How far are you from Sturgis?
Sturgis would be 8 hours, maybe 10, okay. Depending on which way we go. Probably 8.
You ever make it out there?
I have never been to the Sturgis rally because it's usually around my birthday weekend. So the past few years I've been going to Vegas, like 6 or 7 years. I've been going to Vegas that weekend just to get out of here. And I know it's not, so bad for people who don't ride motorcycle, but don't ride motorcycles. So I'd be one of the 10% who are there and like, oh, this is interesting.
Well, if you get out there, man, you don't have to stand in the mass population. You come hang out with us, bro.
I like that idea. So I'll let you know.
Yeah. Hey, the door's always. I just say that the door's always open. If you ever want to bring a show on the road, man, like what is it? The door's open.
Oh, we've been on the road, all right. You go watch some of the other episodes. One of them in particular, when we were in Iowa. I was in Iowa with brother Nico and Rude Boy Kyle, and I had a few too many of these. You'll enjoy that episode when you go back and check that one out. And even did the episode from the weekend of AEW Full Gear when it was in Minneapolis. Did it live from the shady hotel room overlooking an Outback with a Holiday gas station over my shoulder. Very, nice. Very classy set.
Should have got the sponsorship dollars, man.
You know, that's one thing we're lacking is any of the sponsorship dollars. You know, really the pocketbook is funding it. So, I mean, I'll throw out the cheap plug. If you want to buy a shirt or perhaps a pint glass or something, go to beerbluesbs.com. Again, beerbluesbs.com. You can buy us a beer. Yeah, we have a buy us a beer button right on the homepage, so you can buy us a beer or perhaps a round type of personalized message. Even the merch store, like I was talking about, the shirts and pants, sweatshirts. There's all kinds of stuff on there. Of course, the big thing is the pint glass, right? Lots of pint glass designs. beerbluesbs.com. Anyway, thanks for the cheap plug. You're like, man, I don't know if I want to be on this show again.
No, man. Yeah, dude, I want one of these glasses that you got there. I got to get one now.
Well, I got to get your new address, number one, so you can let me know, because I think the address I have from you is a couple years old. Maybe that's why when I sent you an invite to a special day, we didn't get a response if you wanted the chicken or if you wanted the beef, you know, that sort of thing.
Damn, bro. I would have been there. Listen,
I mean, it is.
If you don't know this about me, man, me and my wife, we love weddings so much that our wedding film company, listen, it's called Food and Cake, man. Food and Cake.
Awesome. And our cake, I have to throw this out there because you brought up the cake. Our cake was phenomenal. Number one, the lady who made the cake been in business for, I want to say 60 years. And I think she actually retired and then decided she didn't want to retire, reopened the store. And the cake was just fantastic. So I got to throw that out there, but not to get off track with your wedding plus cake. What's a website? Where can people find out about your main hustle other than music?
Our website's called foodandcakeweddingfilms.com.
Hey, that's easy.
It's the best part about it. But that's what I'm saying. Like, if we'd have known there was food, man, we'd have been there. What kind of cake was your cake?
It was chocolate. Not quite the like devil's food cake chocolate where it's too much, but it's her specific like original chocolate recipe that she would make. Wow. And she would make the frosting for it as well. And so the outside of the cake was made to look like it was how do I describe it? I want to say plastic, but it was edible. Was that a filament? So we had a filament on the outside to shape it, and then we had it on like elevated pillars that were lit. So
whoa.
And it took place at the one of the venues that you played in.
What venue?
It used to be known as the One across the river in Mandan, and now it's the Strawberry Bar.
The One was there's the Papa Murphy's that's right across from there, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, okay. So I've never at this point in my life, I still haven't had Papa Murphy's, have I?
You have.
I have. But at this point, I have not had Papa Murphy's, and we're in that RV. Like, if you remember when we had the RV. And so I get food, and I was like, damn, there's a pizza. Like, looking it up, I was like, oh, there's a pizza place right across the street. So they like, we're thinking that we're going to get these two pizzas, and bring them back to the RV and eat them, right? And so somebody, I don't remember who got the pizzas, but they come back with the pizzas. And I'm like, you see anything wrong with these pizzas, bro? Do you see anything wrong with these pizzas? Like,
no, they look good, right?
I'm like, they're not cooked, man. It's like, they give me uncooked pizzas. I'm like, none of us have any clue that is a thing. And in the Midwest area, take and bake is a thing. So that was, that's how I remember that venue, is because of that right there. True story.
Yep. The funny thing about it is, had you asked the crew operating at the time, you could have brought those two over, thrown them into the oven, and actually cooked them, which is probably what you ended up doing, right?
Exactly. Somebody was like, I don't know if it was you or somebody told us that the place had ovens, and that was actually how we got them cooked. Yeah.
Well, if it was me, it probably wasn't. But if it was me, you're welcome. I always want you to have the highest quality cuisine when you're in town. Nothing like a take and bake pizza to set off your appetite.
It's funny, like how I eat pizza now, but I used to not, because everywhere we would go, it's only so much pizza. Well, my wife would eat pizza all the time, but me, I'm a chicken kind of guy. Like I would just. They'd be like, what do you want for dinner? I'm like, just go get one of those rotisserie chickens from Walmart. Get 2 of those, and that will feed all of them. We'll be fine. So it's, learning how to live in that realm of like moderately healthy on the road was a trick that took me years to learn. I mean, I lost 50 pounds while on the road just because I was like, man, I got to get in shape and do something different.
Well, you're still looking good as you looked when you came back here. So I have to say that. But one thing that we should have done when you were here is gone through Big Boy, because we have a Big Boy here, and it's the only one. I think the next closest one's in Michigan. So the Big Boy here, they have the broasted chicken as well. Yep, exactly. Big Boy holding the tray and everything, just like in Austin Powers movie. It's the same Big Boy. Delicious burgers and flying style. This and the pizza burgers and the chicken and the frozen Coke ices. And yep, it's all there. Just get in line.
That sounds delicious. Do you? I see. I do this thing for Lent. Although I don't really celebrate Lent other than this, which I guess is celebrating Lent. But I don't eat sugar, refined sugars. I do it twice a year. So once for Lent, and then for my birthday to Thanksgiving. It's just like a reset for me. It helps me maintain. I enjoy doing it. But, so you're talking about all these delicious frozen Cokes and ices and cake. And like at the wedding that I was at this weekend in Denver filming, I didn't eat any of the cake. It was, it's tough, man. I got like a week left, and then I'm just going to rub cakes all over my body. Do lots of Coca-Cola, the good Coke,
Yes. I love it's the McDonald's Coke. That's what it is. That's what you want.
Oh my God. If we ever get to go to Waffle House's vanilla Cokes are legendary because they mix the vanilla Coke right there on the spot.
I'm in. I'm down for that. I'm down for that. Well, how about we work their brains a little bit, and if you would indulge me of some favorite other moments when you were on tour and favorite places, that sort of thing. Indulge me, please.
Probably, I don't know, man. My favorite moments have always been coming from areas like yours, where the radio stations really got to kind of do what they want, and they were very in tune with what their listeners liked, because that always helped. I mean, bring people out to the shows, which obviously makes a difference. So, North Dakota's always been a fun place. I think last time we were there, we were with Sons of Texas. Is that right?
I think so.
So that was a great time. I mean, Joplin, Missouri has always been a great place. Another super strong market. We got to do Shiprocked, and that was a lot of fun. That was a lot of fun. It was cool. We got to go down to the Grand Turk Island. We played. We were supposed to play right before Breaking Benjamin, which is probably one of my favorite bands, in the theater, which is like very prestigious for Shiprock. Like everybody's like, "Oh, you're in the theater? That's crazy." But we didn't get to play that slot because Shaman's Harvest had to drop off Shiprock because they were on the Nickelback tour. Jesus. And so they actually moved us from the theater to headlining the Adriatic stage on Tuesday night. And I'm like, man, it's in the back of the boat. Nobody's going to come to this damn thing. Like, with the last band playing on the stage, it was 8 o'clock. It was a cool thing. But, man, we went in there to play, and that room was slam-packed. And they were singing from the first song louder than we could play. And I just remember, like, man, we gave everything that we had. And so we're in the back of this cruise ship. So any little movement, like, you felt it. Like, we were getting into it, man. And the boat's moving and you're moving, smacking into the mic. It was a really fun time. I think Aaron from Breaking Benjamin had come out that night. So that was really cool. Our waiter, we had our own personal waiters, like the I'm telling you, it was a wild experience. The first night, Monday, we got on the boat at 2:00. We go get in there, and all our music's playing on the entire ship. And I'm just like, whoa, this is unreal. Me and Leander are out kind of just cruising the ship, getting familiar with it. And we walk into the casino, and Aaron from Breaking Benjamin, the bass player, is there. And I kind of start rapping with him. And he's like, oh, man. He's like, have you ever met Ben? I'm like, no, I've never met Ben. I would love to meet Ben. He's like, oh, let me get him. And he just like taps me. He turns around at the bar, and he's looking at me all goofy and shit. And and the first thing that he says to me is like some period joke. Like he makes some menstruation joke to me. And I'm like, what the f-? And so that kind of set the tone. And, we were just kind of joking around. And then all of a sudden, LeJean from Seven Dust comes up. And Ben's like, oh, LeJean. He's like, Clint from North Montreal. And I was like, yeah, I know this guy. And I was like, holy shit, this is one of the coolest moments ever. Ben Burnley just introduced me to LeJean, who already knows who I am. It was that was a cool thing. Really, I mean, every night is as ridiculous and cheesy as it sounds. Every night's super special. Every place has a special spot to me. I mean, like, we used to play this place in Algona called the Afterlife. And I mean, you're talking, there's nothing in Algona, but a Thursday night at 12:30 and 12:30 a.m. Friday morning, we got 150 people in there in this underground venue. And, those nights are special, but the nights where we played to nobody, when we loaded into a venue that's 20 below because the heater went out and we're playing to 4 people at the bar acoustic, it's like, even those nights are extremely special because I learned something that night. Like, I learned that whoever was with me at the time couldn't hang, or I learned that, that wasn't for me. Like this past summer, I worked in live broadcast for baseball, and I learned that I don't like that shit. That is not for me. Baseball games are too goddamn long, man. Nobody wants to sit through that shit. And then you get put on a double header where you're on the first base camera and the sun's beating down on you all day. Nah, that's not me, man.
I hate baseball. There's several reasons I hate baseball. in my experience, saying I thankfully have never worked a baseball game ever, and I'm going to keep that in my will happen before I die that I will never work a baseball game.
Terrible,
I'll go to it if I have to. Good buddy of mine brought me to. I should say it was our idea to go, but we went to 2 different Twins games a year apart, and it was my college night at the Twins, the UND night at the game. So you got the special edition hat, which is really the big reason I wanted to go. Like, if I have to sit through this shit, then we might as well enjoy it because it's my college night at the game. But best thing about it was not paying attention to what was on the field. Was sitting and BSing with the people that were around us or that we were there with. I got to meet, in fact, a shout out to Mace Michaels, meteorologist for the Twins. He is their team meteorologist, but he also fills in at Fox 9 in Minneapolis, or sometimes even Care 11 in Minneapolis, so the top tier news stations for the Minneapolis area, and some of the other stations around the country. So got to meet him, get to know him, and hang out, and I got to talk weather with him, which talking weather, it gets pretty nerdy. So we had a good time, but. Baseball, otherwise, no. Get the hell out of here.
Yeah, baseball is not. It's just not. It's not like I said. I played baseball in high school and college, but working at a baseball game, especially like live broadcast, was not fun at all.
Yeah. So since you brought up TV here, what are some shows you're watching now? Some shows you fell in love with, maybe movies, something like that. What's on the playlist for the two of you?
But yeah, she watches a lot of murder documentaries, and then she got me hooked onto reality TV in the form of Bachelor and The Bachelorette, and we also watched this show called 90 Day Fiancé, which I'm
so glad that this is recorded.
I actually, like I said, I'm in school finishing up my bachelor's in entertainment business at Full Sail, which is an entertainment school. And I'm in the excellence program. I'm one credit away from finishing the excellence program. I'm probably going to be valedictorian. I'm just putting that out there. I'm the greatest there ever was.
It's true. It's true.
So one of my excellent things was I had to create a TV show for a month, 4 episodes, weekly episodes, and I had to deal with some current events. So we had just bought the cabin, so I was working on remodeling, doing some stuff. So what we would do is we would remodel the house while talking about reality television. And the show that I talked about mostly was 90 Day Fiancé, where if you don't know the premise of the show, it's usually American women or American men that are bringing a foreigner. We can say that, right? We can say foreigner. They bring foreigners.
It's like the band.
They bring these foreigners. Yeah, right. Bring foreigners to the U.S. on a K-1 visa. They get engaged, and they have 90 days to get married. Now, these people usually have never met each other. But they have done all these like branched off series where it's like 90 days the other way, before the 90 days, all this crazy shit. And you like watch these people, you're like, dude, are you this dumb? Like, how could you be this dumb? They are working you for a green card. Some people truly fall in love. Some people don't. It's Jenny and Sumit, this old woman, she's like 60 and the guy's like 30. He's Indian. She's in India. I mean, it's crazy. It's crazy. You should watch it.
I'll add it to the list. I know on my end, it's been, like I said, more of the Marvel series lately. We watched Hawkeye, and now that Moon Knight is airing, where the second episode was just out this last week, so we're watching that, and that's messed up. Like, it's not Marvel-y Marvel. It's It's just weird. So if you get a chance to watch, if you like the Marvel series, check
Marvel's
that out.
X-Men. They're X-Men, right? Marvel X-Men.
That's I never watched the X-Men, so I don't know if that's the DC universe or not.
What about Morbius? That's Marvel, right?
Yes, that is a Marvel one. Yes, I haven't seen that one, but I see all the reviews and how bad it is, and I'm like, man, I don't know. Maybe I'll hold off until it shows up on my subscription.
Do they hate on it because of Jared Leto? That's the thing.
Maybe. I don't know. People just like to hate on stuff. They hate on stuff, I think, like, oh, that person hated on it. So, and
we just went and saw the Batman with Robert Pattinson, and everybody told me, they were like, that movie's trash. And I'm going to be honest with you, I thought it was like one of the greatest movies I ever saw in my life.
The critic has spoken. One of the greatest movies he has ever seen. One of the greatest movies he has ever seen. Clinton Cunanan watches Batman.
In a world. Yeah. No, it was good though, man. Yeah, that's about what we watch. Reality TV and
sure.
Just terrible comedy.
Right. For the reality TV end of it, I like Bar Rescue. I like seeing John Taffer yell at people for stupid stuff.
I've seen one
episode. This chicken's been here for how many weeks? How dumb are you? Like that makes me laugh. It's just, using your brain. And then Gold Rush. I'm a huge Gold Rush fan. It's something that just sucked me in 10 years ago, and I've been watching ever since. I'm like, they're mining dirt. This is great. They're putting the dirt in through they got the front loader. Now they're putting it through the sluice, and hopefully they get some gold. Just that's me watching every week. I'm like, what's going to happen? They're going to get gold or they're not going to get gold. Like one of two things is going to happen here. And then Gold Rush Whitewater. Did you see that where it's the Hertz, Dustin and Dakota Fred Hurt? They do whitewater mining for gold. So they're up in Alaska. Fred Hurt, which is Dustin's dad, used to be a miner back in the day, but he lived in Minot, North Dakota for I don't know how long, quite a while. He lived up there. And in fact, when he was introduced into the series in Gold Rush in season 1, you could tell by the blurred out plate that he had North Dakota plates on his truck. Cause I'm a nerd like that. So I'm like, it is Dakota Fred, but
that's a long drive to Alaska.
Uh-huh. But he made it. And following their story and ups and downs is interesting too.
But he made it.
I missed it.
You said, but he made it.
But he made it.
It's a long drive, but he made it.
But he made it. I don't know how long it took, but he made it. It's kind of like you guys loading up the bus to come up here. You're like, we're going where? Okay. All right. So I know where it is. How long? What?
Yeah.
We're going there. But you made it.
We made it. We made it.
More than once. So I appreciate your GPS skills and the ability to stay in the bus and not kill each other.
Yeah. That's an art. That's an art that people don't understand. Like this band was just talking to me. They're like, we want to go out and tour. And I was like, I'm looking at the personalities in the band. I'm like, yeah, do you know what you're getting involved with? Are you sure of that? I was like, because it's a novel idea. Like everybody thinks, like you can go out and play shows. We do it. We see each other twice a month. Well, I know we can go out and tour together. I'm like, seeing people twice a month and living in a very small space with people, two very different things.
Yeah, because unless you spend a bunch of money every city that you go to get separate hotel rooms so that you have that separation, which just from the very small amount that I know about the touring and all of the bands who I've met over the year, if you do that, you make zero money. In fact, that is a great way to go into the negatives very quickly.
Yeah. We actually, I got a job for Holiday Inn, very part-time. When I told you I was a lifeguard, you work once every 6 months to get a discount. And actually, my drummer now, he works for Hilton, so we get like hotels for $35 a night. Works out great for us. Which, by the way, anybody out there listening in a band, you should get somebody in your band to be working in the hospitality industry. But yeah, man, we lived in our van. The only way we got showers was I was smart enough to get a Planet Fitness membership so we could get showers, daily. But nah, man, that's the thing too, is like people, we'll just get a hotel every night. I know you won't. Watch how much that costs. I'll tell you how much that costs.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you do it for 1 month and then you won't have any money to make it to the next town.
But you do it for 1 month. Exactly, man. $100 a night. Minimum. That is a cheap hotel. I'm talking not even continental breakfast cheap, but just 20 days out of that month is $2,000. You know what I'm saying? And then it's like bands go out there, they're making $150 a night. You got to get gas. You got to eat food. Like, you're not smart. So live in a van. Do
it once, and then you learn, and then you're probably not until you hopefully hit a big record deal or something like that, which might not work out either.
Never.
We don't have to go there. That's fine. So I know I've taken up a lot of your time, and I mean, it's hard to encompass 10 years of time into one interview. It's hard to encompass even since we last saw each other in one interview.
Yeah.
Number one, new music coming. Again, you said you're writing all the time, so we have, aside from the 10th anniversary release which you announced, is there other new music coming?
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, with the way we were talking about Spotify and things like that, get into a new car, look in the dash. One thing you're not going to see is a CD player. They're not there anymore. So the digestibility of an actual CD will come after that we have exhausted the singles. And I say that because the digital world is a lot different. If I were to release an album, none of those songs are going to get lost in the sauce. So, and I feel like this also forces people to cut fluff too. I mean, a lot of bands are still going to, fluff albums, but I'm just going to drop singles and it'll be the same thing. Like once the new version of War comes out, there may be one more single that'll come after that. And then I'll probably do another EP, with the remaining songs that are there. Had Enough's going to be one. I've kind of previewed a little bit in some of the fight videos that I've done. There's another song called Breakdown. Another song that probably make it called Figure It Out. Like I said, I got just albums worth of stuff. Just kind of making it all make sense. A lot of the stuff that I'm releasing, short of Yellow Brick Road, has been like all new stuff. Yellow Brick Road, I just love that chorus. It really needed to come out. Definitely new music. I mean, I in reality would like to put a full-length album out by the end of the year. But there'll definitely be more new music coming out. We were supposed to do another run with Flaw in the middle of May, and I think that's been pushed. So that kind of pushed my release date for the next single a little bit. So there's a lot of things that kind of come into play with releasing it, but you'll hear new music before then.
I'm excited for that. I'm always excited for the new music, and that I'll be one of the first to click the subscribe to it, the listen, and add to the Killer Kidder Show playlist on top of that. The last thing that I have on here is Clinton's Choice. What the hell does that mean, right? Well,
yeah,
it's opening up Pandora's box. You can never put it back in the box. So the floor is yours. Tell us about what's on your mind, what's going on, what you like, what you don't like, anything and everything. The microphone is now squarely, again, like you're on stage in front of 2 million people in your face.
Damn, man.
No pressure.
Yeah, that's a lot of pressure. I mean, honestly, really, the only thing that is kind of, I watch the news every day, which is a terrible thing to do. But I think a lot about Ukraine, like truthfully, how crazy that is, and kind of how in 2022, watching whatever is actually happening. Like, let me just say that I have no idea what actually is going on. I don't think any of us actually know what's going on. But what I do know is that there are like civilian people getting killed, and it's 2022. And that, I think, a lot has to do with, we lost touch along somewhere in the evolution and the progression of technology and things like that. Like, really, how harmful that people's words still can be to other people. So that's probably like I don't lose sleep over it, unfortunately. I mean, fortunately, unfortunately, but, I think about being here at our house 20 minutes away from the closest gas station, and, what would happen if that shit was happening to us. And quite frankly, we'd be popping off rounds from our balcony here, but that's just crazy. I'm fortunate to be out still playing music, but every night, even the last couple of shows that we played, like, it's still, I always talk about it before we play, We All Die Alone, but it's still, that's real. That's a real thing. Other than that, 90 Day Fiance, I think a lot about that.
No, of course, not about another fiance, because somebody else would get mad, but
I can't, no more fiancés, no more.
I also think that would be, scheduling nightmare. You thought that planning a trip and a tour for a band was bad. Having a wife and a fiance probably wouldn't be a good idea either.
Yeah. No,
for your health.
Be good.
And I know you know how to shoot too.
Yes, I do. That was one thing I'm pretty decent at. I would also like to talk about how upset I am that there is a chicken tender shortage of the honey battered chicken tenders from Tyson. You can only get them about once every other week at Walmart. So, that and the s'more cereal that Kellogg just is withholding, those assholes.
I might have to go looking for you, because if I can find a couple bags of that up here, I might have to overnight them in like a styrofoam container or something. So then you have your frozen chicken wings.
Dude, it's the craziest thing. Like I said, so it's like 20 minutes to Walmart and stuff. So I go to the gym. We still play shows. I do leave again this week to go to Texas, but like when I'm here, I work out in the morning, and then I go to Walmart because I'm going there. So it's not like we have to buy groceries for like 3 weeks. And I go every day to the store. So I go every day to the store. And I
like how she's laughing in the background.
I look for two things every day. Number one is those Tyson honey battered chicken tenders, because I don't have fast food around here. It's the closest thing to fast food I can get. Get some protein. They're not terrible for you. And secondly is Walmart brand great value orange juice with no pulp, not from concentrate. Okay, that shit is like impossible to find, but it's the best orange juice in the world. Fight me.
I mean, I personally go with the stuff that's from Florida, not from concentrate, in the cartons. That would be close second, I would say.
If they don't have the great value that's not from concentrate, I go to Florida's Natural.
Yep.
Pulp for not from concentrate.
My question: how can people drink orange juice with pulp? I mean, go eat an orange, right?
That's exactly.
You don't have to feel it. Feeling's the worst.
Exactly. I'll be like, she's like, I like to chew my orange juice. Like, get that shit out of here. Nobody trying to chew that. Choke on some. Well, that get out of here.
I love the ready peeled oranges that you can buy at fast food places, or convenience stores, or even Walmart or whatnot. It's like pre-peeled, and it's 3 or 4 times the price of an orange itself. Like, just go buy a dozen oranges and then, yes, peel them, and then you get all the pulp that you could ever hope for. I'm sorry. I made the mistake. once in the past 6 months of grabbing the orange juice that I thought was the orange juice I wanted because it was the same color as the orange juice that I wanted. And I put it in the cart, made it about 2 aisles over, and I happened to put something else in and look down. I'm like, what the hell is this? I picked it up and it was the extra pulp, but I'm like, drove my ass back over to the refrigerated section and put it back because they didn't have the no pulp. So I didn't go with the orange juice that day, is what it is.
Yeah. I don't even know how you pour extra pulp out of the carton, it's just like
not for me, man. Yep. Killing me.
It's not for me.
I love the shade being thrown off to the side just because we've had the occasional laughter from the beyond and the side comments from the beyond. Just doesn't want to get famous on the show, I guess. That's for the 20 to 30 people watching it. I understand. It's a big responsibility. Did I, as you're yawning from the boredom, did I ever tell you the story as you're talking about radio and leaving radio and whatnot? I want to say it was Korn and Rob Zombie. I think it was that show. So sold out the event center here, and we were the presenting radio station and whatnot. So we got to go up on stage, and there's a couple photos of me like screaming on stage, and it was a good time, right? But go back into the audience, and this dude comes up to me half in the bag. It's like, dude, bro, kidder, what's up? I'm like, hey, how's it going? Oh, man, you're awesome. You're so awesome. I'm like, I appreciate it. You're just making it up, but thank you. Appreciate it. No, I'm serious. Like, will you sign my coat? That looks like a really nice coat. I mean, I think that coat's like a $400 coat. Are you sure? I got here. Just sign it, please. You're serious, right? Like, you want me to sign your jack? Yes, sign, please. Just sign it, please. Okay. So I give it the old signature about this big on his slide of his sleeve. Man, you're so freaking awesome. Thanks, kidder, dude. Like, you kick ass, man. Thank you so much. And I'm like, I thank you for recognizing who I am, and I'm sorry for degrading your shirt or coat. I'm sorry. You're so awesome. Thank you. You have any stories other than me included about that?
One time we were playing this small bar, and we were selling thong underwear at the time. Another lost year, thong underwear. And there was a woman who had just gotten out of prison who was at the show, and she somehow procured these thong underwear and put them on. And then she wanted them signed. And I just remember it came my turn to sign the underwear, and I couldn't do it, man. I couldn't do it. I passed it off to Lee. I think Lee had a really good time that night.
Oh, man. That's good.
Yeah,
I thought you were going to say there's no room left.
No, I've had people. One guy drug us out to sign the dash of his car. Like, it was weird. I'm just trying to think of all the weird things that I've found a bunch of weird stuff. But the thong underwear, that situation was just different. And this guy, he literally drugged me outside to sign the dash of his car. So, other than that, not really.
That's a famous dashboard now. So thanks for sharing that trip. I'm sure you got to sign arms and elbows and shoulders and all kinds of random things.
Because it's like most of the time people are sweaty at the shows anyways. It's gonna wipe off, whatever. Yeah, I'll sign your baby's forehead if you want it. I don't care.
Oh, that's a nice child. What's their name? Another Lost Year. Allie. That's their name. See,
Oh, there it is.
a new generation of children have a name now,
Yeah.
and you'll sign them for a modest fee, $5.
$5, yeah. Or you could just, like us on Spotify as well as the Killer Kidder show.
Woo! Well, thanks for that shout out. I've taken too much of your time, both of you sitting over there. So number one, thank you. Number two, I appreciate it. Number three, it's been too damn long. So thanks for indulging me for this
For sure, man.
episode. Really appreciate it. So before I go, our thing is that we've been talking for a while. So we got to throw out some cheap plugs. You mentioned the Spotify already. Of course, hopefully this little podcast can be seen by more and more people. We get it out there. We share the good word. Go to anotherlostyear.com. Get the latest updates. No, we don't go there anymore. We go to Facebook.
Nope.
That was hijacked by the Somali pirates or the Indian, Arabic, Japanese. Somebody hijacked it. Now we're airing videos. So you got to find Another Lost Year 1. Where do we go?
Yeah, you can find us on Facebook now. We are Another Lost Year. Facebook.com/Another Lost Year official. So there's that. As far as the anotherlostyear.com website, that domain is just an old one from the Better Days era. We did go to Who Is AOI, like as it evolved. But mostly for keeping up with shows and things like that, like I keep Spotify updated pretty regular when shows are coming around. Instagram, we also have Instagram official AOI. I have a Twitter too that's attached to it, so just kind of whatever is from there. But really, you can keep up with me personally. Clinton AOI. I don't get on there as much as I should, but whenever it is showtime and things like that, that's kind of the best way to go. It's like I said, a digital world, digital frontier, trying to figure out how to do everything, but still, juggle my other creative life, because I am busy creating for other people mostly these days instead of myself. So actually, sitting here before talking to you, I was editing a wedding film, as well as pulling stills for a fighter and things like that. So.
Your Facebook for Another Lost Year, and find you on Twitter and Instagram as well. That's where I find my updates from you when I don't get the text for a while as well. So keep track and see what's happening. Aside from that, well, our website again, beerbluesbs.com. You can visit us there and check out the various places where we are. Of course, the video version of this show on YouTube, the audio version all over the place. Everywhere you get your podcast, it is there. Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts. We're on iHeartRadio. We are on Spotify as well for Beer Blues and BS. We're also on Pandora and IMDb, Player FM, TuneIn, Stitcher, and I'm sure there's a couple other ones out there as well. So you just search Beer Blues and BS on your favorite app that you already have an account for, and you'll probably find us. And then if you would please hit the subscribe or like button, and sharing is caring as well. Other than that, buy us a beer, beerbluesbs.com. You can do that, leave a comment. And how about this? Well, if you want to sponsor the show, you can let us know too. You can have your logo right here in the video version or on the homepage, beerbluesbs.com. Clinton's pointing to it, so I'll do it for him too. He's pointing right at the bottom of the screen. So anyway, that's about it for Beer Blues and BS for this edition, episode 55, because, we can't go 55. We've gone way too long. But Clinton Cunanan, Another Lost Year, and other various projects, including, again, your wedding photography and moment capturing business. Oh, he's holding up the hat. Food plus cave, wedding, and eats, right? I got half of it, right?
Food, cake, wedding films.
Okay, we'll get there. Make it happen. If you want your special event wedding, especially a wedding with tasty chocolate cake with some nice fat frosting layers on top, right for Clinton, hit him up. Anyway, Clinton Cunanan, thank you for being on the show.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it. It was a good time. It really was.
Good times all around. So I am the man, the myth, legend, Mark Kidder. Appreciate you joining us for the special edition of another episode of another long beer, blues, and BS. But remember, keep your glass at least half full. There's free beer tomorrow, and we will catch you on down the dusty Tuscan Highway. Catch you again on the next episode.
You have been listening to a UA production of Beer, Blues, and BS. If you enjoyed the show, help others find out about it by rating the show or leaving a review at your podcast listening service of choice. Thanks for listening, and may your glass never be empty. UA Productions presents A Glimpse Behind the Curtain.
Perfect. I love it. Thanks, man.
Oh, yeah, man. Yeah, thank you, bro.
That was great. Sorry to drag you out for such a long time, and I mean, I've taken up 2.5 hours of your time, so I'm sorry.
It's all good. I will look forward to when we get to chat again.
Hell yeah, man. Whenever you got some updates, you want to throw some stuff out there and help to get another at least double or triple our viewer count. We do it typically it's every Friday night, but I got this wild hair earlier today. I'm like, you know what? When you're like, I'm open, let's do this. I'm like, you know what? I've been waiting forever, so let's get together. I couldn't wait another day. It's been too long. So
cool, man. I enjoyed it. So
me too. So I'm gonna stop the recording here. You got to click the stop and then you got to click another stop to